Hello everybody, today we're going to be making the Vietnamese crab with pork and shrimp udon noodle. It's also a call it thick rice noodle. Going to prepare about 2 pounds of crab, 2 pounds of shrimp, and a pound of ground pork. You can use different type of crabs. I mean the snow crab or different type of crab would work really well as well. Here are all the ingredients. All the crab paste, fish sauce. Here are some green onion, Vietnamese corianders and cilantros, and the Chinese breadstick, mushroom seasoning, chicken soup base mix, rock candy, and then a mixer. So you can get those at the Vietnamese store. First, you're going to wash out the shrimp with salt. You're going to peel out all the outside of the shrimp and then take the back end of the shrimp, those black part, so just make it cleaner. Wash it really well and then just leave it on the side for a little bit, and then you're gonna wash out all the pork bones, clean it, and then boil it. Here are the filtered water, put the white onion in it, and then once the pork bone boil and then a little bit cooked, you can gonna rinse it and clean it out. And you can watch my other videos on cleaning the pork bones on and then boil it. Okay, and once that is clean, you're gonna put it on the side, and then put about a teaspoon of salt, and then you're gonna put the pork bones in next. You're going to cook the pork bones for at least 2 hours, preferably 3 to 4, so that way the broth would be a lot sweeter. Depending on the type of pot you're going to use, for 3 pounds of pork bones, if you're going to use a decent size pot, you can make it full, but if you're going to use a bigger pot, just use half of the filtered water and then put it in and cook it. Okay, in the process of cooking, if you're going to scoop out all the foams, so that way you would have a clear broth. Take it out. I mean, it comes up every now and then. And here you're going to prepare 1 pound of ground pork and 1 pound of shrimp with the back root end of the green onion. And then I'm adding here a teaspoon of sugar. I'm going to add a total of 3 teaspoons of sugar. Here is a half teaspoon of fish sauce. A half tablespoon of fish sauce, that is, a teaspoon of chicken soup base mix, a teaspoon of the mushroom seasoning, and then here I'm adding 2 other teaspoons of the sugar, half teaspoon sugar, so going to be about, I would say about 2 teaspoons of sugar would make it good. And then I'm going to mix it together. And then just leave it on the side so that way it would marinate for a little bit. And then you go back and check on the pot. And then once you're done with that, you're gonna season it. This is when you cook it for about at least 2 hours. Again, 3 or 4 hours later, you're gonna put all the seasonings. So about 8 tablespoons of fish sauce, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar, a teaspoon of chicken soup base mix, a teaspoon of mushroom seasoning, and then here are the spare ribs. You're gonna do the same thing, wash, clean, and then boil it first, and then you want to wash the spare rib in and then put it on the side, because these spare rib cook a lot faster. And then here you're gonna add some rock candy, and then here are the shallots. You're gonna cook it so that way it gets golden, a little bit orange. And then you're going to prepare, here are the crab paste. You're going to put about a teaspoon of crab paste So that way you can cook the crab and then leave it on the side later so you can serve it with the noodles. Okay, fry those together. Then put the crab in. Here you're going to add about half teaspoon of sugar, half teaspoon of chicken soup base mix, half teaspoon of mushroom seasoning, about half teaspoon of pepper, and you're going to add some water into it. I mean, you can use this broth here from the pork bone, so that way it tastes better. And then next you're going to add the shrimp in. This is the pound of shrimp that was split into. So you're going to use the other half to mix it with the pork bone, the ground pork, and the other half you're going to use it and put it in here. So we're going to add about half a teaspoon of fish sauce so that it would give some seasoning to the shrimp as well. Adding a little bit of water into it. And then you're going to take out the crab and the shrimp and put it on a different bowl, and then just pour the rest in. Pour all of it into the pork bone pot, into the broth here. And then once that is done, you're going to put on the pork and shrimp balls. This is the one that has been marinated a little bit ago. Just, put it in piece by piece. I'm just going to use about half of it. The other half is going to be fried. So depending how much you like it to be, here are the other part of it. You're going to use a roller, push it down and roll it, and put it into like a plastic wrapper, so that way you can put it in here. The way you put it into this, you want to use the wrapper and leave it there, so that way it doesn't stick when it gets harder when you pull it out. So put the entire wrapper into put oil into it first, and then put it into a pot, and then just fry it up. And fry this for about, when it gets fried, just turn it out to the other side. I would say about 20 to 30 minutes. And then once that is done, you can cut it out into pieces, and just leave it on the side like this, so that way you can serve it with the noodle in a little bit. And you have that and the crab and shrimp all cooked and done here, so you can serve it later. And here are some Vietnamese corianders, cilantros, green onion, hot pepper, and some limes. You cut those and prepare those and leave them on the side. Here's the oil. This is, you're going to make the chili oil for the noodle. Going to microwave it for about a minute, and then depending how spicy you like it to be, you can add 1 or 2 teaspoons, say 2 teaspoons of the hot pepper. Then you're going to add about 1/8 teaspoon of chicken soup base mix, 1/8 teaspoon of the mushroom seasoning. You can do that, and then put the this is the fried onion. Put about, I would say, 3 teaspoons, depending how much you like the fried onion to be. And then just mix it together and leave it on the side. And then here we're going to make the udon. This is, they have some that is already pre-made, but if you want to make it yourself, you can get rice flour and then the rice flour starch. About 1 bag of it. I would say about half a bag of the starch and 1 bag of the rice flour. You can add 1.5 cup of hot water. So you're going to mix it together and push it down really well and mix it quick. So that way, once it gets to about here, so while you're pouring, you're going to be mixing it. And then leave it on the side. As you can see, you can use a plastic wrapper and wrap the one so it doesn't get so dried. So you're going to cut it out and then cut it into pieces. Yeah, like that, and just put it on a separate pot. And then here you're going to prepare, you're going to get the broth from the other pot, and then I'm going to put the udon in and cook it for about 10 minutes. And then once the udon is cooked, you can add the crab and everything in, so that way it gets hot. And here you have it. If you like the video,
like, share, and subscribe.